So after the show ends, Javon Holland is going to tape an interview with me and Crowder. We don't normally get to hear Solana talking to the guests, but because we have these video feeds and it wasn't on the air, it wasn't a commercial break, the show was over, we got to hear Solana and his entire conversation with Javon Holland. I cannot get this out of my head. He says to Javon, again, the hosts of the show, Shannon Crowder, you might know him, played linebacker for the Dolphins. He does the Pivot podcast, and his co-host is Mark Hochman. Everybody calls him Hawk, like the bird. And so I couldn't even do the interview. I couldn't do the interview because I was so out of my game, because Hawk is not like the bird. Hawk, which is Andre Dawson's nickname, is like the bird. Hawk Harrelson, White Sox broadcaster, a bird.
Yeah.
I always cringe when people call me Hawk because it's very obvious then that they don't know me, don't listen to the show.
Yeah.
So you get guys on the show sometimes and they're like, oh, Hawk, that's a great point. And I'm always like, man, I'd rather they just don't say anything than kind of make it really clear that they don't know me. And now I've realized for 5-6 years, Solana has been prepping guests by saying Shanning's co-host name is Hawk, like the bird. Which it makes no sense because it's not that. And it's like shouting through a megaphone. I don't know the host's name, but he's feeding them the wrong information. And so I can't do the interview with Javon Holland. So I say to him, I listened in on that. He said Hawk, like the bird. I said, I got to tell you, it's not Hawk, like the bird. And Javon Holland said, yeah, why didn't he say, what did he say? Why didn't he say
hockey
without the E?
Yeah,
which is really simple. Like,
but Javon Holland's never met you before.
Never met me before.
And had a better example than Solana, who's known you
better
for
way
years.
To bring guests on. Hey, his name is Mark Hochman. People call him Hawk, like hockey without the E. And Solana, for years, I just found this out. I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't sleep. Because what else is he saying?
I don't know.
What is he telling people about you or I that is, it's like Solana, it's such a great little, view into his head. It's fairly close, so that's good enough.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of the way that he operates. So
I think he approaches his life that way.
I don't want to go into an explanation. It sounds somewhat similar to Hawk, so I'll just say Hawk, like the bird.
The Hawk bird.
So I don't know, but I would like to make a rule now, Solana. Don't do that anymore.
What would a hawk bird look like?
Sure. Bald eagle.
It sure wouldn't fly. I'll tell you that much.
I think the real problem here is the way you pronounce the bird, hawk. Because you're putting so much emphasis on the A. Hawk. Like,
no,
the
Atlanta Hawks, no?
The Atlanta Hawks.
The Atlanta Hawks?
The Atlanta Hawks.
It's the Atlanta Hawks.
Right, the Atlanta Hawks.
Right, and you're Mark Hochman.
Right, I'm Mark Hochman.
I don't hear the difference. I'm being 100% honest. I don't hear the difference. So
when people say hawk or hawk, you don't hear the difference.
But see, you're doing it again. Hawk. Like, why are you doing that? It's
because that's how you pronounce hawk. That's how you pronounce the bird. That's the bird's name.
I don't think there's that big of a difference. Like, maybe a little bit.
Was that did you find that out for the first time yesterday? That it's not hawk like the bird? Like, maybe it wasn't him being lazy. Did you think my nickname was Hawk?
I genuinely thought you may have changed your name for the radio to be the Hawkman.
Well, why wouldn't I change it to be the Hawkman? That's like a superhero. Isn't there Hawkeye? Like by the way, it's not Hawkeye. It's Hawkeye. Hawkeye
making
sounds
things
like
worse.
a guy who's walking in circles, can't get his focus right. Hey, Hawkeye. You know what I mean? Like
that would have, like, being the Hawk man would have just been too in your face. You went with HOCH man, which I thought was cute, to be honest. Like,
What
I'm
are
all
you
with
saying?
it.
So now I'm HOCH man. What are you saying?
You should go by that.
Please.
You've never heard. I tell everybody that. You've never heard anybody say your name and say, "Wow, I wish they wouldn't have said my name that way."
All the time. All the time. I hear people go Hawk, and I'm like, that's not my name. Like when people think my nickname is Hawk, they don't know me. And so then I always say, by the way, it's Hawk. My last name is Hawkman. It's not Hawk.
We actually had this conversation at Twin Peaks one time because Hawk looked at me like, the damn sign is right there. I remember that because somebody came up and said Hawk.
Yeah, people go Hawk all the time because it's a more common nickname, obviously. Yeah. Like I said, and Andre Dawson played down here for years, and he's the Hawk. But I mean,
maybe you should be the Hawk then. Like, maybe this is an easy fix. I just changed your name.
That's an easier fix if you don't say Hawk like the bird. So from now on, you can no longer put these three words together consecutively. Like the bird. Those three words, you can never in your life, whether it's about me or something else, you can never, raise your right hand. Raise your right hand.
I don't think I want to take an oath here.
Raise your right hand.
This seems to have been
Raise your right hand.
Until yesterday.
Because I didn't know about it. You're supposed to be an agent for me.
Right.
And I have found out you're an agent against me. Hawk, like the bird. Raise your right hand. I, Alex Solana.
I got to do this?
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Jimmy.
My name is Alejandro. Let's get that right, please. Alejandro Solana.
We'll never use the three words.
We'll never use the three words.
Like the bird together.
Like the bird. Well, that's 4 words.
No, like the bird.
Like the bird.
Together. Thank you. And you can't do it in Spanish either. How do you say bird?
Como el pájaro.
Yeah. You can never say como el pájaro. Ever. I don't care if it's a family reunion. I don't care if you're in Uruguay. I don't care where you are.
You know what? The only time in his life he says like the bird is when he describes you.
Which is, there's literally nothing about me that's bird-like. Well, I'm glad we covered this. Let's get headlines here with Alejandro Solana. If you use like the bird somewhere in these headlines, you are off the show. I'm telling you, Jimmy is ready to swoop in like the bird, which I can say because I don't use it improperly. Jimmy is ready to swoop in there and take your job. Here are your headlines with Alejandro Solana.